right. Good evening, everybody. It's Ron Brown, LMC, the People's Fitness Professional, alongside my co-host,
Mikey Fever, I'm here.
Mikey Fever. Made it. Oh man, the hard-working Mikey Fever. Yo,
Man,
man, good to see you, brother. How you feeling tonight, man?
I'm good, man. How you feeling, bro?
Great, great. And we have the sister Roz Mariah Bay in
The
the
legend.
legend, the
Wow,
legendary
wow,
Roz
honored.
Mariah. Hey, now Roz Mariah Bay, I just want to put this out there and let everybody know. I met Roz Mariah Bay when I was probably like 27 or something like that. I met her. Taj Tariq Bay came up to the Bronx when we had this thing going on. We had a Universal Indigo Children, and we had this place in the Bronx. We had like a space where we were teaching martial arts and classes and stuff like that. Roz Mariah Bay came with Taj Tariq to come build with the group. Also, Terrain Hicks, Knowledge Eternal, me, we created this event, Meeting of the Moors or something like that. I forgot the name. Oh, the Moorish Unity. It was something like that. Moorish Unity. We had the event in the lodge on 124th Street. It was Hakeem Bay, Roz Mariah. We had Taj there. We had oh man, C. Ferguson Ill there, and some other people. Oh, Jelani Bay was there as well,
Jelani.
and it was a great meeting. It was fun. It was peace. I wish we did more of those, but Terrain lost the footage. Terrain
What?
lost the footage of that. That was a classic meeting. I've never seen it happen again. You know what I'm saying? So, but now we're here. Fast forward, now I'm 44. And
All
from 27 to 44, and we're still here in the movement doing what we do. Now, Sister Roz Mariah Bay, I would like for you to give a little intro of who you are, where you come from, how'd you get this knowledge?
Oh man. Well, knowledge is ongoing from the time you're born. And your journey that you are on from the time you were born leads you to wherever paths you take. So you
Yeah.
got to look at things are destined. You're destined to do and be where you are. So in my case, for instance, I before I came into the Moorish knowledge, which was Moabite Moorish heritage and history, which was in the year 2000. All right. Before I did that, I was already I had a local newspaper. I did television podcasts. As a result of that local newspaper, really is why I did a TV show, because someone had a contract. You know how that goes, and they
Hmm.
couldn't finish it with a local TV station. And because I had the newspaper, they asked if I would finish out their contract, and when I did, then the station wanted me to continue. So it was all about community information, information you could use, pleasant news information you could use. And so I also let's see, I was in NAACP president chapter. That was short lived. Um, and what else did I do? I was one of the 10 founders of the charter schools, if you recall, when they first came in. And so I already was doing the communication thing. So when I came into the Moorish knowledge, I came with what I could bring to the table. And so I assisted with the at that time existing Al Moroccan Star newspaper. Now a lot of people don't know that, but the Al Moroccan Star was going on with Abdullah Bey and Taj Bey. I think they were editor and co-editors of it. So I offered some layout, and also another newspaper um, out of California called the Moroccan Light. I helped lay that out. And all I did was lay them out, and then they printed them or whatever like that. And then I went on to help with the civil letter from Abdullah Bey, and also Moorish civil letter from Sabir. So I did a lot of work that people that didn't know I really did, before I got to the point where in 2008, so RV Bay Publications was 2000. That was me established, but the website wasn't until 2008. But the Moorish Heritage and History School, where we met at, where we did classes for 12 years, was 2006. And
Mhm.
prior to all of that, it was the hedges and the highways.
Right. Now that so you were in that books, it was a bookstore, right? Before you went to the National Black Theater.
Oh my, you remember that?
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
remember that?
It was Sutex bookstore.
Yes, it was on 128th
Yep.
and something. Yeah,
Yes, yes, yes,
Soul
yes.
Brothers. It was the Soul Brothers.
Soul Brothers. Yeah, yeah.
And Senada, I think, was associated because they actually gave me a little community award, which I appreciate for the work done there at New York. But yeah, we was at Jack's. I think it was called Jack's Bookstore, something like that. We
I
were
think yeah, yeah. I was there. I was there, and I went when y'all went to the National Black Theater. I went there.
all
Mm.
right. So we were there first, and he. This is a very interesting story to tell about our all of our developments and growth and how we really can help each other. Because he had it was a t-shirt shop, I think, at front, and he had a back room that was
Yes.
able to be used. So we went back there, very small, but in no time, in a short period of time, he started getting more business. This is how we're supposed to do it with each other because people were searching for the information. So they were coming there. Now his business is back to, I'm not saying that it wasn't increased before. I don't know. I didn't know him, but it was increasing to the point where he needed his back room. He had to expand. So
Right.
we needed to expand as well. So then that's when we went over to the National Theater with the help of the Zulu Nation. They had connections there
Everybody know. Yeah.
and Bivada. They got us over to the theater, and that is exactly how that started. Yes.
Right. So Sabir Bey had a part in that as well.
No, no, no. He didn't have
Oh
a
no, no, no. Oh, okay, 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 okay.
no, not at all. No, not in what I'm speaking of. I said I assisted him and his newspaper that he put out. I laid that out. However, prior to that, Sabir
Mhm,
Bey did have a radio station,
mhm.
show, not a station. He had a show at Philadelphia, and I forgot to mention that I also helped assisted him and was co-host with him on his radio show prior to even everything else. Yeah.
Got you, got
That
you,
must
got
have been blog talk radio. Was
Now,
it?
Blog Talk Radio came. Remember, the Moorish Heritage and History School at New York was in 2006, the website 2008, and 2013. That's when the Blog Talk Radio came.
Okay,
Yeah,
got you.
yeah,
okay. So now your introduction into Moorish science, what
yes.
year was that and how did that come about?
2000, 2000, and that came about because you know how they always tell you that three's a charm. I've always been, I guess, active, subconsciously active, seeking information. And I had three different people that I know come to me and say, you got to go to this place, and it was in Camden at that time, New Jersey. There's this sister there, and that was Queen Valera.
Yeah.
That was
Yes.
my first
Yes.
teacher. That was my first introduction into
Wow.
that was my
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
yes.
How is she still around?
I don't think so. When I look, it was great there. I don't really know where she is. I know that when I had left or stopped doing the classes, she had stopped because she was about to have a child. So she may have came back in. I don't really know. And I don't know where she is right now. I hear she's in the South. We're all from the South, so to speak. So she may
Basically.
be back there. Her children are grown now, I'm sure.
Right. Right.
So that was my first teacher. Then I met Abdullah, and then from Abdullah I met Taj, and that's when I started assisting with the newspapers.
Okay, so now you got into Moorish science in 2000. So
Hmm.
what was the literature did you get? Did you get like literature like the divine laws and I mean the bylaws and the Constitution, the 101s, the Circle 7, or what kind of literature did you get?
Well, my first entry into the information did not come because I was in a temple, like
Gotcha.
many people. Um,
Mm.
However, I did get that because I did go into a temple and later, like 2006, and I have all due respect, much respect for Prophet Mujir Ali and all of his works and intent to the best of my knowledge of it. But at the temple, like my place was out in the hedges and the highways because well, that's where I started, and I didn't stay like I'm not going to say I'm not in the temple now because I understand that the true temple is you and the returning to the temple is to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else is a construct to keep you in a construct.
Hmm.
It's no disrespect to the prophet's work because of course there's all types of, as you may already know, I don't know if you're going to ask me any of those questions of controversies, if you want to call it that, that ought not even exist, regarding, are you a Moor, or you can't be a Moor unless you're in a temple, etc., like that. That is not
Hmm.
what the teachings are, but that is what a organization and or a membership might do. So what the prophet himself said, when you go out into the world, remember the relation that bindeth you. So I came in, I saw, and I've joined the greatest temple there is, which is um, the beings, myself first, and then, trying to assimilate or not assimilate, share information for other people because that whole work is a missionary work. So in some ways I say, well, oh, I did that. I'm still doing that, but I did that. I was, and I didn't even know, like I said, your path is your path. And you don't really know, like, some people, and you didn't ask me this question, but it's in my mind. They'll say, well, what is it like being a woman in this or whatever? And so it's like, what do you mean? Because, well, for me, it's like I never thought of it as a woman doing work. That, how they say don't play the race card. I never played that card, so it was just part of the journey, and my decisions to carry on as I did and establish, what I could, still doing the missionary work.
That's beautiful. So I have a question for you. You said before you joined the temple, you already were doing the studies already. What were you studying?
Oh no, I'm saying you. I think the question was, I maybe I misunderstood. I thought the question was geared at whether or not, um, when I started, there was the 101s or the
So the
booklets. They
Bible. You
were
said the
availed to
Bible.
people because they're public.
Yeah.
So I had those. In fact, it's interesting you should say that because you were supposed to memorize the whole 101s, etc., like that. And I was, when I first came in, I was around a lot of people that would say certain things from the literature. And I had the literature. And I was reading it, but I wasn't as professed to remember everything. Certainly, I'm still not remember everything to the T, but I know it pretty well. So I know others that know it better. So once when I heard people saying these comments that the prophet said, and as if I ought know, or that everyone around you ought to know what he said, I'm like, where is this coming from? So what happens is, if you have the Quran or the 101s or whatever literature that the Moorish literature is just a compilation of the newspaper, the Moorish guide that was out when the prophet was here. So what's in there is a compilation of information that was already published. So I would hear them say these things, and I'm like, wow, where are they getting it from? Even though I'm reading the book. So what happened to me one day is I had to do a presentment in, I believe it was the Connecticut area, and it was a state, sort of like a theater type community building and room, and they were asking questions. And all of a sudden, because this is how it works, y'all, for real, you got to take it in from within. All of a sudden, I'm giving the answers right out of the book. And
Wow.
I'm thinking to myself, where did that come from? Because I had already taken it in by reading the books. I had already taken it in. So the answers that I were given, I almost surprised myself because it's like as if I knew the prophet, all of this work, and I surprised myself, like, where did that come from? So everything that you know or you learn it's from within. So that's how as they call things being revealed to you come.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as exactly the books, they were already they were public and out there. Hmm.
Got you. Okay. So
And then of course when I went into the temple, I got them too.
got you. So you went into the temple in 2006. So
No,
2000.
before 2006,
Okay.
about
So
2003, maybe 3 or 4.
2003 or 4. Okay. So
Yeah.
you came in the Moorish movement in 2000. You went to the temple 2003, 2004.
Hmm.
Now, what temple was that? Did you was it in
It's not. It's called Number 10 now in North Jersey, Asbury Park.
Mm.
Asbury Park? Who's out there in Asbury Park? I forgot the brother's name.
Nature.
Nature. How's he doing?
I guess he's fine. He's doing fine. Last I've heard from him.
Yeah, I haven't heard that name in a while. Yo, who knows about Nature in Asbury Park? If you know that name,
Everybody knows about Nate, don't they? I don't know. It's been too many. It's been many years now.
yeah, it's
I'm
been many
sure.
years. Yo, Mikey, you remember Nature from Asbury Park? If you don't know,
Nah.
nah, you can't be a part of NYP now. Nah.
Yeah, the only names I knew was Hakeem Bay,
Yeah, Hakeem Bay. Yeah.
Reef, Raz. I thought
Hakeem Bey didn't get into the temple in terms of I believe his sheik degree until much later though.
Well, I don't know about that because I was a
I'm
part
not
of
sure. Wait a minute. I got to get the times right. It might have been before. Yeah.
yeah, because I was a part of Hakeem Bay's temple in 2008, I believe. 2000,
That
2000.
would that's about the time. Yeah, 2008. So yeah, about then he's when I think yes. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
because it's right there in New York.
Have you heard anything from Hakeem Bay lately?
We stay in touch because he's way across the other side of the land right now. And we
mm,
do stay in touch every now and then and again. And he's loving it where he is. And, he's doing his thing.
Yeah, he like vanished.
You think people vanish, but people have to go their path and do what they need to do. Now,
Right.
one of the
that's
things that we
deep.
all know about Hakeem, right, is that he is master astrologist, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You know
Okay.
that. You did know that about him, right?
I don't remember that. I don't remember that. I
You
know
don't
he
remember
just
that prior to the temple, right? To you knowing that he did the temple
yeah, I was just at that time was just focused on Moorish science.
on Moorish science, which is everything. It's the science of the universe, right?
Tell him
So,
Ron's not too big into the astrology thing, right? Ron, the zodiac.
I'm not too big into astrology. I'm not really too
well,
big.
chapter 1 says, "Let the solar stations be your guide." That's in chapter 1. You
Okay.
Mm.
know, and that's what I brought that up. So right. So it says, "Let the solar stations be your guide."
Okay.
And a lot of people, and I'm not saying that's you, because we all have to take our time to learn. You understand? So it's a great point because some temples won't and don't allow to teach astrology. And I'm speaking for Hakeem, but I think he experienced that. It's like, I'm a master astrologer. Right here it says, "Let the solar stations be your guide." That's astrology all day long with no interpretations or misunderstandings.
Mm.
Right? And I think that maybe I'm speaking for him, but I think that maybe because that wasn't in whatever temple it was, I don't know. It doesn't even matter to me because all of them, they're all the prophets' temple. And the way that he intended for them to be, how people may be running them right, wrong, or indifferent. Well, that's just a whole nother story. We got a whole history on that and records and stuff. So, so again, with all respect to his work. So I think that was part of what one of the things with him. And then you'll find people who may have come out of temples that don't want to deal with astrology at all when it is the science. So thereby they may end up saying things like that. I don't want to deal with it. I don't really deal with astrology. I've even heard someone say, yeah, some of the Moors, they just astrology, they just deal with astrology. That is the science of the universe. In fact, if you're a prophet,
Mhm.
if you understand the definition of a prophet, it means one who knows of the coming events and warns others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now if we're on this earth plane and it's all about energy,
Mm-hmm.
from the universe, well, yeah, now I'm not going to get into an astrology class, but that is just very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Now,
Next
now, as far as now, to take it to, I'm trying to take people through your history. So now, you,
question.
um, Moorish Science Temple, 2003. Now, where does Clock of Destiny come into play here? Did you
You,
learn? Did you learn the teachings of Clock of Destiny?
oh, you asking all the right questions. Okay, well, first of all, for everybody on the line, if you want to learn C. and Bay's work, he put it in the Library of Congress, thereby
Mhm.
intended for you to have it public, right?
I
That's
have
where
it.
he put it. That's his work. He put his work there so that we could get it, whether in a temple or out of a temple. Um, so C. and Bay's work, for the most part, uh, it's kind of established out of Ohio area. I think the brother is at Nakeem, right? He's the one who has Clock of Destiny.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
well, there's a whole lot of other brothers that can have it too.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so when it comes to that, I can see people's like, well, where do I get it at? Where's the right place? Like, what's the right place? So as far as seeing base work, yeah. And I'll tell you, when I first read his stuff, anyone, when you first read it, you will have to you consider yourself an initiate on it, and then you'll have to come back on it. And when you come back, because you gain knowledge
Hmm.
and wisdom, because wisdom only comes with knowledge, it doesn't come the other way around. You have to apply what you know in order to gain wisdom. That is just the way it goes. If you don't apply what you know, you will never receive wisdom.
Right,
So
right.
going back and reading his stuff, you would have to do that. And then as far as the general public, how can they begin to ferret through what's the right temple? What's the right sea and bay? Then when you really go and look, you say, oh, they were fighting each other back then. Oh, they were doing some real renegade stuff back then. It's in the records, and then you're like, well, will the people continue to be deprived because of it? Or shall we look at it as the fact that it is a membership club, both C and Bays, and no disrespect to him at all, or anyone that's doing whatever they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's difficult, like even with the MSTFA's association. I know for a fact, and there's many people who may be on this line or who maybe hear this later, or that you may have know of, that'll go knock on the door of a temple and they won't even open it. So
Mm.
there's a good sign. There's no humanitarian hostess, welcoming missionary. It's like it's operated like a private club. Now, Prophet Mujir Ali said, "I'm taking the covers off of all secret societies." So people have to fall back on, their quest for the knowledge and not their quest to be. And it's not that there's not degrees, but if we look at it from that position, um, then the people would never, they might not be able to get the information. And what's failed is that it's up there falling humanity. Falling humanity's out there.
Yep.
Falling humanity's out there. So, you got to go do the missionary work.
Mm.
Right, right.
You
Now,
need it.
now I'm going to say something about like the temple, right? Um, I don't want to go too much in detail and things like that because I've been a
Right.
part of temples. I also was with Nakeem Bay with the Clock of Destiny back in the days as well. So I know Nakeem Bay. I know Nakeem Bay pretty well. I just actually saw Nakeem Bay not too long ago. Probably like we were at the law school at the art show. So I know Nakeem Bay. I know Clock of Destiny. I know how the temple functions. I know the in I'm going to say this. There are some people who are doing what they're supposed to do, and some people who are not doing what they're supposed to do,
Yes.
as far as the temple is concerned. And I'm gonna leave it at that. But that's so I can't fully disagree with what you're saying.
Well, you know what? It's not even me that's seeing it. Here's what we can do. They said nobody can show any bias in any way or the other. If you
Mhm.
have a charter, There's always the first charter, right? And
Mhm.
everything comes from it, correct?
Mhm. Yes.
So you can't have two MSTVs say that I'm the right number one temple, and the one down the street saying, no, it's not. I'm the right number one
Yeah, you're
temple.
right about that for sure.
Now, it,
Okay.
like that right there is all people need to really know. So, and then what makes that worse is that they're fighting each other. It happened right after the prophet passed. You
Mm.
can't show unity amongst yourselves, and you want to go out and make judgment on the people. And the
Right.
people is like, I tell you what, as soon as y'all fix that and show love for the prophet and for the work, then we'll be good. Because if you fix that, it means that you didn't just abandon the handshake of unity. It means that you are coming right, and therefore you will get the response from the people. And
Mm.
then what complicates that, because it's been 25 years for me now, so I can kind of speak on what I do know and seen.
Mhm.
What complicates that is that when you go to say, well, yeah, I'm a temple. That's why I never even told people that I had a sheik degree. You want to know the other reason why I didn't? Because I know the prophet said sheiks are not made, born. And so the work that I was doing, I was already doing it. So I decided I'm gonna continue to do what I'm doing. You know what I mean? But when the people come, it's like, well, what temple are you from? Like, where do you hail from? That's like gang. That they do that in the street in the gang right now. Where you come
Right.
Yeah.
for real now.
Right.
People are aware of this. So then it's like, well, we don't like that temple because they didn't hail from the grand sheik that, the lineage. Now, what does that do to the people? It makes them have to go and ferret through and find out, well, which temple is the correct one? Because one,
Right.
and upon doing your research, that's all. Upon doing your research, you're going to find that one of them has erected or reestablished with the charter and said that they were going to take the members, to the corporate courtroom if they didn't behave right. It's in there. So when I saw that with my own eyes, right? Because I did the records, I'm like, well, I want to make sure that if I ever get involved in the temple, it's not the one that's over here, because the prophet has his own bylaws and you're
Mhm.
supposed to go by them. So now you got to be concerned that you're not wrapped up in the wrong thing. So that clears it up right there.
This is a great bill.
That's
We can keep
confusing.
going on this because this is good. This is good. So now, Islam sister, brother Tariq, thanks for the $10 donation. I really appreciate you. Thanks for anyone in this super chat away if you can, if you have it. Islam sister, what temple would you direct Moors to join that's interested? Also, what's the value of having a nationality card?
Oh my gosh. Let me make sure I answer both of those questions. First of all, when we were at New York and the hedges and the highways, I'm glad you asked it. Make it very clear. We always told people to go and join the temple. We could not tell them what they could or would expect. They came back to us. We
I
never.
remember you. I remember you actually saying that back in the days. You and Taj.
Right. So thanks for clearing that up so that anybody in or out of the temple testify today. We always did. And it was their experience that they had. And so man don't know by being told. So we knew that. And sometimes we did it knowing that anything could go down. So that being said, I just gave you the answer to what temple I would tell somebody to join. How do I know? Like, in other words, I've done some research. I don't think it's fair or right or just for the people to have to ferret out and find out and reverse the question. When they say to you, what temple are you from? The people need to say, what temple are you from?
Right. Right.
You see? So with that, it's like time is going on. Babies, families are getting, it's happening right now. The prophet said we need each other, but we're going to need each other more now. That's the now. It's always, but it's certainly the now. Who needs to sit and try to ferret through and then question you telling them or me telling them, it's too much. It's not, you know. So I am not going to sit here and tell anybody what temple to join for the reasons that I just qualified right
Right.
now. I will say this: the information, if you're dealing with nationality, because that was your next question, and birthrights, because the prophet said what? He said, this is his call out in short. Come. He's talking to you, me, and everybody else out there right now. He said, come, hear the truth about your nationality and your
That's right.
birthrights.
Yes.
You are not Negro, colored, or black. Come link yourself back to the constitutional fold. That's the national constitution, not the states, because that's, and I hope you asked me that question. Let me clear that up. Come link yourself back to the constitutional fold of government and link your, come bring yourself back to the constitutional fold of government and link yourself back to who? The family of what? Nations. Not the, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, so nationality or a nationality card. Yeah, let's go there. Let's go there because if you don't know what self-executing is, because everything that the prophet did was self-executing, it means that it is without the ancillary or permission or control of a legislator. It's constitutionally secured. That's how he did what he did. And so when people say, like, for instance, we had a card, we had the card out since 2012. It's absolutely lawful. Now, if you have the nationality card, ID, people ask that like it's not an ID. Like, did you look up what ID is lawfully? Right? And then you have a temple card. Wow, that's great for you because the more IDs you have, proclaiming and declaring who you are, the better. In fact, in law, two is sufficient if you don't have what they want you to have. So
Mm-hmm.
this is joining up. We it's working up for everybody, but like we said, from the head at the top, if they can't get it straight and show love, then everything is divided, and then to turn around and put it on the people is absolutely uh, ludicrous.
Gotcha.
Okay. Okay. Thorough. So now we went into the clock. Did you explain how you got? Okay, you built on.
How did I get the Clock of Destiny books?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, truth. Okay, here we go. So when I first went into this information in 2000, I was asked, I was like the initiator on the block, right? When they found out I do publishing or whatever like that, there was some Clock of Destiny books. They were like 8.5 by 11. It wasn't even what the private, I mean, what the CNB put out. You're gonna love this story. I'm gonna try to keep it short. Um, 'Cause my mom always told me, as crazy as it sounds, the truth works. So I was asked to, because I had created a book on something else. And my spirit told me, like, my spirit told me, because I didn't know anything. I didn't know. I didn't know. And I'm like, these should be in small books, the small book size that it's in now.
Yep.
Did it out of spirit, right? So because they were raggedy looking, right? I didn't know where they had actually come from. I was just, commissioned to do it. So as I have these books out because I did it, I get a call from a Clock of Destiny, and they say, well, something about this is before they went and changed it so that the general public could not get a hold of the Clock of Destiny. It was 1 and 2, which is the intention of CM is that you were able to go get them, that you didn't have to go into any club or membership. Uh, and they said, well, you've got to give portions, to the Clock of Destiny. And I said, okay, can you please send me who and where to send it to? That's what I said. Never heard from him after that.
Wow.
And that's the truth.
Yo,
Now,
I want to add something real quick, Ron. I have those 2 books, those 2 volumes. Very insightful. A lot of good information in those books. I purchased it back in 2012.
hmm,
Well, I'll tell you what, if we can't get the nationality and birthright straight, And the fact that, more science is the science of the universe, which is astrologics of cosmogony. It's going to be very hard, not very hard, but these
Mm-hmm.
are all stepping stones to our work. You can't have one kind of without the other, and that's another
Exactly.
unfortunate thing, because there was talk that CM Bay was thrown out of the temple. No, no, he was told when infiltration is not new, to preserve his work, and that's what he did. And so people look at it like, he was thrown out, but that had to do with the infiltration that was going on at the time, and the want of control, ego control, and like that.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Still
Unfortunately.
today. Still today.
Hmm.
I don't know when we're gonna ever get over that, but
You know, that's a. You know how we're gonna get over it? By talking about it. By talking about it. Thanks for having this platform.
thank you. Thank you for coming.
I was
Now
gonna say something more harsh, but I was gonna say kill the Negro mindset.
You're
That's
not
what.
Negro colored and black.
Yeah, but that's the mindset that's plaguing our people.
Yeah, yeah.
but
And
but, but the dialogue and having a dialogue in an open forum is that'll help. That'll help. Now, the Moors of the Round Table. So I know about the Moors of the Round Table through you and Taj Tariq Bey. Now, were you a part of the Moors of the Round Table? What is the Moors of the Round Table? Does it still function? How is that? What's that
quite
about?
frankly, I've never been a part of the Moors of the Round Table. That's
Okay.
no, no, no. The Moors of the Round Table is something that Taj established, not me. And then he was out there for years before I even met him.
Hmm.
And then I did my work, and I sojourned. He was a part of my sojourn as well, as he was of many people's sojourn in this information. So the Moors of the Round Table, from my knowledge, was never something that I can say me, or that I witnessed anyone else was a membership of. In fact, my understanding was it was never a membership. That's just like Moore's Divine and National Movement of the World. It's not a membership. It's an umbrella of work if you're doing work in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. But Moore's Order of the Round Table, again, being clear, that was something Taj had established, that he had established before I met him, and I've never seen a Moore's Order of the Round Table meeting, and so let's clear it up. I was never a member of the Moore's Order of the Round Table.
Hmm. Got you. Oh, just before we go into it, Brother King Simon says, "Peace. I need Sisters Roz number."
Yes, and you know what? Yes, yes, you give me something. I remember him, love and peace to him. Yes.
So what I can do, I'm letting you know, King Simon, I could send Roz your
You can
number.
give him my number. Yes. You
Okay,
can give
and then
him.
y'all can connect.
Yes. Just tell
Thanks.
him that if I don't answer, text first, and I'll know who it is. Love to hear from him. Love to hear from him. Yes.
Got you.
Yes.
Peace, King Simon. I'll send you something right after this live. Peace, King Simon. So now, appreciate you too. I don't know if you're saying appreciate me or you appreciate Roz, whoever you appreciate. We appreciate you. So okay, so now you cleared that up now. Okay, and so now what are you doing currently?
Yes, and thank you. I'm like many, when you say people vanish, we didn't really vanish. We sometimes you like I took like New York, 12 years. I would just want you to know there was years prior to that. We started in 2006 and we did exactly 12 years. And it wasn't, I was trying to stop like years before that, and the universe just wouldn't let me until I hit 12 years. So now I'm going into the science, like, what's the numbers, right? A full circle. And that
Mhm.
happened because the building, right, was actually being renovated and everybody was moving out. No classes, no. We were the last man standing up in that piece. I know that. And then it was supposed to be knocked down. So that was 2018. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't say that I'd still be there because, like I said, divine law governs all events, and you just go on your sojourn. And believe me, follow the dictates of your soul. Learn the lessons that you need to learn, even if you made a decision that wasn't quite right, or not that it wasn't quite right, but it didn't turn out like you wanted. It was still part of your sojourn. You follow the dictates of your soul. You learned your lesson. So 2018, I left there, and then for 3 years, I had like what you would call like a sabbatical. And then in 2021, the urge of online, online. So I started an RV Bay go-to class
Mhm.
on the go-to meeting platform.
That's dope.
First, I did a whole course on astrology, and then after that, we've been doing civics classes. Myself, my son, Mikael. We have on that platform. There's a Circle Seven Sunday class with the sister J Bay, and there's also Enlightened Asiatic with the sister Karima Bay. And that Enlightened Asiatic with sister Karima Bay is once a month, the third Monday, and the Circle Seven Sunday class is once a month, the first Sunday. And then I also have the Sisters Standing on Law once a month, which is the third Sunday, which is this coming Sunday, by the way, and Monday. And then the Civics is every Wednesday, Mercury Day, Communication Day.
Right,
Mm.
right. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. So, and for RV Bay publication, well, not publication, for RV Bay, how did what's the website?
All right. The RV Bay Publications, established since 2008 by my, oh wow, that was a trip. That is called RV Bay Publications. Now, RV Bay Publications and Presentations is inclusive of the class, the presentations. But I have an expanded website called RV Bay Online. Now, let me just tell you why. It's private right now, but I'm getting ready to open it.
Okay.
Um, because RV Bay Publications had fed so many people information, and people could find whatever the dictator of their soul was, information where they could also research more. Um, I was going to take it down because it is outdated technologically, and the host that I had for it was not able to make it happen. And then when they were able to make it happen again, they didn't have the support that they needed from the employees they needed for the new update. It was just the best. We went through it all. So I also was told by many people who contacted and said, please, 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 please don't take that down. We know that website by heart. So the decision has been made to keep it up, but not have any like commerce go over it because it's so old that it can't get an SEO because of the technology. So I'm going to leave it up as an archive. And rvbayonline.com will be the expanded site.
Now, I forgot to bring up all the books that I have from you that I bought years ago. I forgot. The next time you come on, I'll show you all the books I have. Now, how did you put those books together? Was it you by yourself, or because that's a lot of material?
Now you're going to go through, Sister Roz, what has been your journey? So let me just say this. When I first started, first of all, all of those books, let us be clear that I created them. I manufactured them. You're asking me how because it's a lot. Well, you would need a copy machine. So when I first started out, what I would do is, you know how you have a place that has a copy machine and they'll have people can come in for a quarter and make a copy. I would
Right.
go to the business owner and I would make a deal with them. And I would say, listen, I'm bringing my own paper. I'm going to do this much. You got to give me a better deal. So they would let me copy for 5 cents, let's say. Yeah, that's real talk. That's how I used to do it, how I developed to the point where I was able then to get my own copy machine. And
Hmm.
so when I went to get my own copy machine, the first time one was a black and white because color copy machine was way out of the question. It was like, wow, that was just such a far dream away. And then as you continue through your journey, you just acquire uh, the tools that you need. So I have on house or in house production. And then when things started really moving, it got really busy, but I had the equipment to do so. And if you don't have the equipment to do so, then it could be, very costly.
Mm.
Got you. So now, did you write those? You all by yourself? Did you put
Right,
things together?
which some of the books I wrote, and most all of them, well, let's see, do I have a list here? Some of them I wrote, but the ones that I wrote, you sometimes I don't even put my name on it, and that's the truth. Like it'll say RV Bay,
Mm.
and then some of them I'll specifically say Roz Mariah Bay, and then some of them are joint ventures, but I don't always put that either, because the way that I was thinking then is that we're all in this together. But what happens is, so what book? Like, okay, I'll give you an example. There's a few first books that I did, and a lot of people don't know I did them. And matter of fact, they think Taj did them. Like it'll say RV Bay, and they think that's him. I still have people like Truth About Your Hair about the tribute to the inventors. Are you in denial of your ancestor? Like they say RV Bay. They don't say Rahsmariah Bay, but that would be me. And this is just as an example. And so the tribute to the true inventors, how that actually happened, and this is going to take me back before Moorish information, is that remember during the time when they came and they said these are all the things that we invented as inventors, you
Mhm.
know, and the Black and Wax Museum came up and we invented all this stuff. I was asked, and this is before I got into the Moorish, right before. Matter of fact, it inspired me to start a newspaper, to be honest. And then I had to be prepared for that. And then I came into the Moorish information. So I was asked on quote unquote Black History Month to do a presentment at a Black History Month session for some company, some business. And I did it. And I used the information that I knew just as an oral speaking, I typed it up or whatever, that I knew about some of the things that we had invented. And I ended it with, and just like Benjamin Banneker, who made the first clock to strike 12, it is time for me to go. That's how I did it. So
Mhm.
now, yes, and now I'm inspired. And that's when I opened up a local newspaper behind seeking and finding, the truth about us. Then when I got into the Moorish information, I had to revise it a little bit, and add some more stuff on it, like some of the information from the history of the United States before or since 1865, etc. There's a lot of good stuff in there. And then
Mhm.
I put it out. That was one of the first. Truth about your health. Again, deny of your ancestry. Now, when I did deny of your ancestry, one, at that time I was like, I don't need to write a book. I'm like, why am I gonna, who's gonna listen to me? This is what you think. And then it's like I realized that while there are people who are higher in knowledge than
Mhm.
you, there are people who are where you are, and there's people who are wherever they are, and whatever you write about, someone will be inspired, just as you, Roz, were inspired by the information. So then there are certain books that are like wow, if I didn't know you was going to ask me, I would have pulled up my whole list. I could tell you who did what. You know what I mean? But I didn't know that. Certain books that are public knowledge books, as well, like indigenous rights of indigenous people and certain things like that. But
I
all of
have a question for you.
I put together. Yes.
Where can we find your books?
RVBaypublications.com right now. And then
PDF
RV,
format,
huh?
PDF format, or 8 by 11? You
All
got to
right,
order.
this is where I'm at. I know that I was just having this conversation with my son that a lot of people want the PDF format, electronic, whatever. And I'm
Mhm.
thinking, do I want to do that? I know there's other people who have taken the books and done that, but if I do that PDF the way that I am, I would have to find a program that when you're reading it, it can flip the page. That's probably not hard to find, but I would. That's the only way I would do it because of
Definitely.
presentment. Presentment is important to me, so I am considering that. I am considering that. But I also know that we need to have that collection of books because the only university, and this is in the Library of Congress, is a collection of books.
I
Mm,
respect that. Beautiful.
Yes.
got you, got you. Now, before we close out, um, I had another question in regards. I should have asked you from the beginning. Now, where are you from?
I'm from my mother.
Okay,
My mother's from Virginia.
okay, okay. You're from your mother. Your mother's from Virginia, so you're from Virginia. I just, how did you make it to New York and Philadelphia?
Now that's a better question.
Mhm.
Not that intentional. I'm like, well, what's up? That's the question. And it's so funny because I asked myself that just before. When I told you that I was in New York, you knew I was there. You were there.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, how did I get here?
Mm.
How did I get here? Because actually, I'm from the southern part of New Jersey, so it's not like a secret. And I'll tell you how. In my sojourn, I'm gonna say it again. Take your journey. In my sojourn, I was out. We were hitting the hedges and the highways. Nature Bay, myself, Taj, my son, a lot of us. But one day, we were coming from someplace in New York, at New York at some event, and nature said we ought to go to 125th and 5th. I'd never been to 125th and 5th and knew that it was called the intellectual Harlem. We're on the corner setting up at 125th and 5th. That's called missionary work, by the way. And
Mm.
I've done that. And like I said, I didn't see a lot of others out there. But the point is that that's how that started. So when you talk about going into Jack's place and then from Jack's to the temple, it was because of that. That is the answer to your question. So now I'm there at 125th. And again, information, knowledge, it's powerful in that we're there and we're sharing this information and they want us to come back. So now I'm coming back I don't know whether it was Friday or Saturday. I think it was Friday. Yeah. Coming back every Friday. We're out there on the corner. I'm coming from all the way. And the next thing I know, they're like, okay, we want you to come into the building. So come into the building. Oh, okay. Now we want you to come into the temple room at the National Theater. And so throughout that course, it ended up that I was the, the only person, which is by 2006. That time frame when
Yeah.
I started Moorish Heritage and History School, MHHS, and that's what those classes were called. So, but I had to hold it together. Try know this. I had to hold it together because, say, for instance, nature. He had to do what he had to do at his temple. Taj comes and goes throughout. Everybody who knows him, he'll come, he'll go, he'll be here, he'll be there, he'll be everywhere. Who's holding together that class? Me. I had to do that, and that is how I ended up at New York. And I want to say, I enjoy New Yorkers, if that's what you want to call yourself. It was a wonderful experience. And I appreciate, again, from Sinetta of a House of Consciousness and Sinetta, a House of Consciousness, along with Soul Brothers, which is the first place that we were,
Yeah.
giving me a plaque saying thank you for your community work. I will always honor that. So
Right,
that's
right.
how I got to New York.
That's peace. Now, before we cut out, I just would like to say thank you for joining us on the platform. Really appreciate you. Good to see you. Great to see you. Hopefully, you'll join us again. We'll keep building. I'm gonna make sure I send King Simon your information.
Yes.
And Mike, do you have anything to say before we close out?
Yeah, she has to come back with the astrology class because I've been watching her for years. I remember there's a quote she said on Sonetta's on show. She was talking about, law is length and width, and the woman being the man's the enforcer of the law in the household, something like that, and that all nations come from one suckle of the breast.
The MST will teach you that's right there in the circle seven. One
Yes,
mother's breast of giving you suck. That's nations. That's talking nations. And
yes,
and you're talking about LAW, which is law,
mm-hmm.
which is length, angle, and width of
Yeah,
the energies of the universe
mm-hmm.
that you're in. And those energies are emit. I know that's the reverse of time, but that's what it is because there's no time. It's
Mm-hmm.
emitted down onto this earth plane. And for us to think that it doesn't affect us is our ignorance, just like the moon right now. The moon is strong enough in its flow and its tides and its energy to raise the waters on this earth. And we sit here that like, oh, it doesn't affect us. That's ignorance or ego. I don't know what that is, but so you open up your mind to really accept and appreciate it. So length, angle, and width, the length, the angle, and the width of the energies, that's law. So we have to be talking about all law, divine law. Really, that's divine law. And the prophet said that this is divine and national. So as far as the laying down of the law that I said about women, when
Mm-hmm.
she has a child and you understand these things, that while the child is in her womb, that's if you're Masonic orders, some of y'all might be, and it says that Solomon, the grand architect, built Solomon's temple in the
Yeah,
silence and the darkness with no hands and no tools. They're talking about the temple, which is the body, which is in the woman's womb. And
exactly.
so, yes, and so when she has a child, what does she do? She just laid down the law.
Mm-hmm.
And so to want to suppress that information, even though I told you I never played the woman card, but at the same time, women need to wake up because the prophet said that this is about your nationality and your birthrights. And who gives birth? She does. So if she's not invested in this, that might be part of the reason why it's gone is not gone as well, or is part of the reason why. And the other part is, investing into the secret societies and don't tell you, and you're in a society and you can't tell your mama and you can't tell your wife and you can't save your children. And the prophets that I gave you enough to save a whole daggone nation. So he wasn't trying to hide these things. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not that they're not sacred, and it's not that you don't learn by degree,
Mm-mm.
but yes, but there has, like, right now, if we were to do, I was asked years ago, what do I think the answer would be to this problem? And my answer was then and is now: institutions of learning. Now, what's the problem? Even though we're online now,
Mm-hmm.
problem is, or the situation is, because there's never any problems, only solutions, right? We
Exactly.
look for, we resolve things, we look for solutions. It's
Mm-hmm.
that, so you got the school. Do you have enough teachers to teach?
Yeah,
Everybody ran to, I'm doing the school, and found out you don't have teachers
exactly.
because generationally, a lot of this information has been suppressed. So who's going to teach? And then what did the prophet tell you? We got to learn the information that he put forth, because out of the Sunday school, which is the SUN day, first day of the week, that's a fact,
Mm-hmm.
comes the guidance of the nation. And so when I
Mm.
find people, like, I'm in the temple and I'm this and I'm that, and they don't know that, or they don't apply that, or they want to apply it as if it's a secret society, and the prophet said, well, I took the covers off of those. So don't tell me that you sit here doing that when he told you he's trying to take the covers off. Um,
She got to
and
come back. You got to come back,
that leads me to
mother.
one other thing I'd like to leave with, if I can. It's law, though. Unless there's no time, I'll do it another. Um, because it's one of the biggest misunderstandings, and not from the temples, but from our people out here. The
Mm-hmm.
prophet told you that there was no need for the 14th Amendment for the salvation of his people. Correct?
Heard that.
Did he say that? Well, first,
I,
that's a sip. Oh, you don't? Okay, cool. Will
I
anybody
don't
else?
remember. I don't remember that.
There's no need for the 14th Amendment. It's in the divine warning.
It's in the divine
But you know
warning.
what? You said you might not have read that. So you would have to read that. But anybody in the temple would have read that. He says there's no need for the 14th Amendment for the salvation of my people. And it's funny because he just kind of like said it like, okay, it is in the divine warning for the nations, though. See, it's in the divine warning for the nations. And if you didn't read that, that might be because, and I don't mean you, but
No,
anybody that,
I have the divine warning. I think I got that from either you or Taj. That it's like in a like a pamphlet thing. I don't remember. I've read so many books. I don't remember. It's like so much stuff
I
I
hear you,
read.
brother. I hear you, brother. But guess what? It's Divine Warning is one of the most popular known writings, as well as Message to America. In Message to America, he gives the history that takes us back to the Taj Mahal, Cordoba, and all of that to let us know that we were Moors prior to the Prophet establishing the temple to teach. To he said, "Come here." So he had to establish a place for you to come to learn. You know what I mean? Which is
Yeah.
what he did, but it didn't eliminate the fact that you were Moors. So the divine. Back to that real quick, and is 14th Amendment. It's a civic statement because a lot of people say he wasn't talking civics. He started civics. He didn't end by changing anything to a religious organization. He adopted a religious organization and then he changed something within that, but he was always civic. 15 years of his work was civic. That's a fact. So anybody that might want to mislead people to think that this is just religion and it's not civic is meaning they're trying to suppress his work. That's another problem that we have with, well, why are you suppressing his work? He added on to. He didn't eliminate. And I went into the records and saw it says, oh, Holy Temple of Science and the MSTV present this convention like in 1933. So don't tell me that one was eliminated. It's in the records. But the 14th Amendment means that he said we didn't need it for the salvation of our people. And really, it is another class. But the 14th Amendment is the corporate person. And that's why he said it, because it means that you are born. It says it in the definition. Any United States citizen is one who was born or naturalized in the United States. The prophet told you you were descendants of Moroccans born in America, not United States. And so then you got to go into, all right, well, what's the history lesson? Like, yeah, this is not the United States. The United States operates on the land. And the United States has been given the law of the land, and all the states are the members of the United States Union, the U.S. Union. They got to follow that national constitution too. And so then, as you study, you realize why he said what he said, because you find out that when you go to look up person, because it says any person born or naturalized in the United States, and then you say, well, there's two types of persons, and you look at it innocently, and it says, well, there's a corporate person, as is meant in the first clause of the 14th Amendment. And you read the 14th Amendment, it says anybody born or naturalized is a citizen. So that's why he said it. But a lot of people don't ferret it out because they think that the Constitution is the state's Constitution. And that means they didn't look at the Constitution, national Constitution that the prophet told you to deal with, they and enforce, because in Article 6, write that down. If you don't know what I'm saying, maybe you can see what I'm saying. In Article 6 of that national constitution that every single state must follow and not violate, it says that they can have their constitutions, but they cannot violate the national constitution. And that's a big, big thing that needs to be straightened out for our people, so that we can stop acting like all of the laws, or what they call laws, that they made up yesterday, and their state legislator, that they even talking to you as a flesh and blood natural national being. They're not even talking to you. And then we go start protesting for it, and they're not even talking to you. They're talking to 14th Amendment corporations and things like that. So I appreciate why he said it. I don't appreciate people saying he never taught civics. That really bothers. That's bothersome. All right.
Got you. On that note, thank you for coming out this evening. I really appreciate you. Hope to have you on again. Thank y'all for viewing this evening. I really appreciate y'all. We're back on Sunday, 6 p.m. Sharif GS Sharif Bay, and then Eric Muhammad at 7 p.m. Sunday. See y'all Sunday, and we out.
All
Peace.
right, love and peace. And thank you for having me here. Have a good evening. Definitely have Simon give me a call.
All right.
Thank you, Brother Ron and Brother Mikey. Mike Fever.
Thank you.
All right. Love and peace.
Peace.